Okay, so in the last video that I recorded, which could have been months ago, I've recently moved my videos around, so who knows when this one will go up. I made this melody, and it consists of like a bunch of layered sounds. So here's what they sound like individually. And the bell had a house synth with it. The name of it was House. It was just like a regular, like, wave, like saw synth or something like that I just EQ'd out. And then with the strings, I think I layered like 4 different strings. So all together. I might just start with like a Spins 808, and then that could change later. But Spins is a pretty safe bet to start with, and then, like I said, you can change it later on if you want to. You can't see it right now, but I've got a stank face on. So it's slightly different. I don't know if I want the second one. One thing I almost always do is I like to pan everything that isn't the main snare or the main clap, left or right. So like this main snare I'm gonna keep it more or less in the center so you can see none of these are moving left or right. But then on all of the counter snares, and like open hats and that sort of thing, I tend to pan them left and right like this. Ooh, I want to do a triplet with this, like a hit, hit, hit. One thing I always do is I make sure that the 808 and the kick, if I'm using both at the same time, make sure that the phases line up. So the way that you can do that is you just isolate the kick and the 808, and then just reverse the polarity of one of them and see how, and like compare how it sounds before and after. So here's how it is now. And then if I flip the polarity of the kick, that's way softer. It's not nearly as loud. So I had it correct to begin with just by chance. But you should always double check this. Just isolate your kick and your 808 and play them together and make sure it's like the polarity is correct. Because if the polarity is not correct, the sounds will cancel each other out like this. And it won't be as loud. It'll sound like muffled. And literally all you're doing is flipping the sound like upside down, basically. So I'm hearing something really slow with this one. So duh, duh, and then maybe we'll do like a little roll. And maybe these come down. You can do the same thing with your hi-hats as far as the polarity is concerned. So just isolate them and then reverse the polarity. Sometimes it doesn't make a big difference, but sometimes it does. Why did it spread everything out like this? I think it's because I had so many things on here when I was making the melody, so it like messed up like the default locations of everything. So let's process all of the snares together. Okay, and then everything that isn't the main snare, I'm actually going to separate. So I'm going to push it out to the sides. I'm going to process all the hats together, and my effects for the hats are going to be basically the same as for the claps and snares, just a small amount of distortion and EQ, except for the EQ I take out basically everything except for the high end. Now I'm going to process the 808s. Same thing, just a little bit of distortion. And I take out the high end. This is more or less what's going to go on it for the master. So I start by cutting out some of the lows, and then I do a soft clipper, bring it down to 0 dBs, and then I'll EQ it a little bit, put some Frankful finalizer on it, which is like a multi-band compressor and an EQ kind of squashed together. And then I've got some multi-band compressors, which, like I said, I'll do that later. Another EQ, and this second EQ is just a monitor, basically. So like when it's playing, I can see like what frequencies are too loud and what are too soft. And then this one, I need to change this. I always change it to a soft clipper because I end up boosting some frequencies up here, and even though I do compress them, I don't always compress them like all the way back down to where they were. And so the second soft clipper, just makes sure that we stay at 0 dB. And then maybe over here we can have all three, and then I'll just fade them in and out. Like super. Which is just going to be, I just consolidated everything. Now I'm going to put halftime on it. And you can probably see how long the timer is up here. Again, I can't see the timer because my recording software is in the way. But this is more or less what the beat's gonna look like. I am gonna go back and undo that. And let me go ahead and add my tags, and then we can go back through and listen to the whole thing together. Okay, let's listen to it from the top.